YouTube, Dawson Ryder here. Welcome to my review for Kikai Sentai Zenkaiger episode 42. So this was kind of a historic episode to a degree because it was our debut, or our teaser debut, of Don Momotaro from Avataro Sentai DonBrothers, the next Sentai series. And unless I'm forgetting something from history, it's the first time we've had a full teaser debut of the next Sentai story-wise within the main series. You know, we've had the team's debut before, like in the Dumb Tyson movies or the Versus movies or whatever, and we of course always have the famous Sentai handoff, but we never had something quite like this, especially since we know the next series is going to have some hybrid elements, a little bit with the story, and of course with the gears and aesthetic. So it was a little bit historic to a degree. And it was one of the first episodes in a long time for Zenkaiger I've been looking forward to in terms of there being something significant happening. You know, not that Zenkaiger has been awful, like I've mentioned in past reviews, I'm just kind of done with it, and I feel like there's not a lot of substance going on, and a lot of substance to look forward to, so I was looking forward to this episode. And if I'm being honest, I was pretty disappointed. Not necessarily by the showing of DonBrothers, but more so by the episode overall, because I think it was a huge missed opportunity. That being said, I'm going to reserve full judgment until we get to the end of Zenkaiger and the beginning of DonBrothers and see how they tie them together, but just in terms of this sort of historic moment, I think they kind of missed the boat. That I mean, I thought this was a really cool opportunity to have a really cool episode that primarily focused on this teaser debut of this new character, rather than having 75% of the episode being a dumb Zenkaiger plot episode about catnaps, literally. So to get that out of the way, you do have a Zenkaiger plot of the week, which dominates most of it, is the Rangers are like, hey, it's cold in here, and, what's his name? Kaito, there we go, I don't know why I forgot his name, but he's like, oh, I wish we had a Kotaku, or whatever he said, and then they're like, oh, look, it's a Kotaku monster. I don't even think that's the right word, but I'm just gonna keep calling it that because I'm committed. And then it's like, oh, it's such a coincidence. And then they go to fight it, and it turns everybody, under these blanket things. Monster of the Week always turns them into something. And the only one not affected is Juran. So the plot, you have Juran going all around, trying to fix things and find, a mobile one, and, that was the most entertaining part. Again, these types of plots have their entertaining moments. I'm just kind of over it, and I was really disappointed this episode focused on this nonsense when I was looking forward to the DonBrothers debut. But anyway, the most entertaining part of that for me was Juran running around. I mean, it turns out the longer you spend under this blanket thing, you become a cat. So we did Meow Rangers 3.0. And that's the main thing that dominates most of the episode. They wind up using the Pat Rangers gear to unite themselves and roll into battle later, because Juran later on finds the monster on his own. It was really funny though, because when Not Navi came in and said, I found Kotaku World, or whatever it is, and at first I thought, oh, is he gonna go to the actual world? And then I remembered, no, that's the monster, you idiot, that's how they call the names. Juran is fighting the monster there, and when the other Rangers get there, that's when Kaito uses the gear he got last week, and that's how we get Don Momotaro. And it doesn't seem like it's a summoning, a dummy, empty summoning, like the ones they do later. Later they summon, 3 fighting Sentai to fight, where it's just a dummy! And I think, was that double? That dummy? That was double, right? It doesn't seem like it's that type of summoning. It literally summons him and he shows up. So it seems like it's the real guy, I guess. And that's where he finally comes in. And it basically operates like our kind of classic teaser when we get this type of character. You know, I've mentioned that they haven't done this in the series before, but they've done it in the movies. They do it in Rider. And usually it's kind of just a hollow demo reel. Hey, look, here's the suit. Here's what it does. That's basically what this was. And I was just hoping for a little something more, because we're doing a hybrid series, which I'll get to in a second, but I'll just give my impressions on the DonBrothers stuff we see. I mean, we see him fight along Juran. So far, I like him. You know, I'm worried. I feel like I'm on the fence. He's another one of those, always-on characters, and I just wish we could incorporate just more, non-cartoon leads. I'm a little bit worried he could end up being annoying, but so far, he was alright. I'm hoping he presents himself as a little bit different, a little less annoying when we see him in the series. I can't help but think to how Revi and Vice's first impressions in Saber weren't great, but then they ended up being fine, so I'm hoping that happens here. Not that he left a bad impression, I'm just worried about having another always-on protagonist that's just a cartoon. But I'll say, within the context of this, I didn't mind him for what he was. He was fun. His fighting style was fun, and it was kind of slick. It was a good demo reel for just the Ranger and what he looks like in action and with his sword and stuff, so I thought that was good. I still don't like the little propeller ponytail. I mentioned that in my thoughts on the designs video, and people brought up to me that it's based off of, I guess, The Legend of Momotaro, which I was not familiar with. When someone first said that, I assumed they meant The Legend of Momotaros Who Drank Coffee on the Den Liner. In all seriousness, I really wasn't familiar with that, and I'm not still that familiar with it outside of the comments, and they mentioned that's a design element. So that makes sense now. That being said, I still don't like the way it looks. And of course, we get a kind of demo of the mecha because he combines with Juran, grows to large size, we get the formation, and it's all CG except for like 1 foot shot, which I think is just the suit they have for Juran's. And it was fine looking. I think it looks a little bit better than the Zenroku stuff. It's fine for what it was. I kind of was just right in the middle. I wasn't like, oh my god, this is great, or oh my god, this is awful. I was just kind of like, oh hey, there that is. In terms of it just being a demo reel of his stuff, it was decently enjoyable for what you'd expect. I was just hoping it'd have more substance. Other than our kind of classic back at the shop ending stuff, we do get a little bit of a teaser of what happened with Stacy. He's in the cage, and apparently evil Navi has taken over his body. So that's at least an interesting wrinkle, and I'll say at least something different to keep this Stacy like treading water. This whole Stacy redemption is having to tread water for a long time, and at least this is something different with them amongst that. So yeah, guys, I don't know. I hate to be so down on this episode. It's just, I was kind of excited by the idea of this hybrid element, and I liked the way they debuted his gear last week as the way the dad made it, and I was looking forward to sort of linking the 2 stories up, and I think there was a missed opportunity to like really tie them together and have a more story-driven episode. Again, with that being said, we still have a handful of episodes left, so there's a chance we could address this by the end, so I'll wait and give my full thoughts on that. And maybe I was expecting a little bit too much, but I guess I was just disappointed that they had an opportunity to do something really cool with the hybrid element, and it wound up just being your classic kind of empty Toku demo wrapped in just a dumb Zenkaiger filler episode. At the very least, even if they didn't tie it more so to the story, because I understand that when we get to DonBrothers, if they tied it more to the story, they would have to then, when we get to DonBrothers, re-explain stuff that happened here, which I'm more than fine with. Even if we didn't do that, I kind of wish the episode was more about DonBrothers, or Don Momotaro, rather than having so much of the Zenkaiger nonsense. Like, I was like, how long is this cat stuff happening? I want to get to the DonBrothers stuff. I almost fast-forwarded at one point. I'll be honest, I did fast-forward. I'm just disappointed by that. I'm going to give this episode a 2 out of 5. I would maybe give the second half, just for the DonBrothers stuff, a 3 out of 5, but overall a 2 out of 5. I think it was a missed opportunity that this basically felt like a tacked-on showcase at the end. Like, we'll have to see. Again, I'm really curious to see if they tie anything else to it within the endgame of Zenkaiger, or maybe do like an epilogue or something episode. That would be cool. So I'll reserve full judgment, but I'll just say if this is the only lead-in for DonBrothers outside of DonBrothers itself having Zenkaiger characters in it, I'll be disappointed. But what did you guys think? Do you wish that there was something more to the hybrid element? Did you like our first showing of Don Momotaro? Let me know in the comments. As always, until next time, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you can get notifications for my videos. DonZenkaioh, signing out.